Motherfucker, Jesus! Face detect was on. Motherfucker! In 2011 I created the HornyBox Mark I. What was it? You put it in your office, for example, or as a birthday present you pack it up, you had a remote and you pressed it. And it scared the motherfucking daylights out of everybody. Now, since I was playing with the Raspberry Pi for the face recognition, I figured, let's make a Mark II. Let's put a camera in there, and as soon as it detects a face, it will honk, and it will wait about 30 seconds again, and then it will honk again when it detects a face. So I think there will be a nice follow-up to this little demonic monster. First we need to gather a couple of things. We need a box. In order to make it horny, we need a horn. We need a Pi Zero camera. We need a Pi Zero camera cable. We need a Pi Zero. We need a relay breakout board. We need a battery to power the horn, 12 volt. And we need a battery to power the Pi Zero. In the end I changed these two batteries for a power bank and an 11 volt LiPo battery. Just to save some space. Now that we have our components, we will run the plus, pin 2 from the Pi to the VCC on the relay. Then we run pin 6 from the Pi ground to the ground of the relay. Then we run pin 12 GPIO 18 to the in on the relay. Then we take one of the terminals from the battery and connect it to the horn. Then the other terminal goes into the middle contact of the relay, and depending on your relay, either the left or the right goes back to the battery. And that is it. I marked everything up for my prototype, coded it, and then started to mount it in the box when it worked. I started by drilling a hole for the camera, and I started to fix everything with epoxy sculpt. Fuck hot glue. One note when working with resin products: always suit up. Epoxy sculpt comes in two components. Use equal parts for both components and mix thoroughly. The best way is to intertwine them, roll it into a sausage, intertwine it, roll it into a sausage, until you have a smooth color. Now I tack the camera in place, then the horn, and as soon as it's set, it won't go anywhere. So these are the innards of my HornyBox. We got the horn here, stuck together with that epoxy resin clay that is not going anywhere. We got a power bank for the Pi Zero. We got a LiPo battery now, smaller than that big ass lead acid battery for the horn. I detached the horn for now because I was getting deaf. The Pi Zero with a heatsink. The heatsink is really required for image processing, and of course the relay board. So yeah, that's it. So let's now connect to my HornyBox. I will put my arrow in your HornyBox. Okay, that sounded way worse. Here's my HornyBox. And there it is, it's now connected. Let's go to the website, hornybox.com. Yes, there we go. Let's blow the horn first. Oh motherfucker, that's loud. The neighbor is going to complain for sure. And I enable face detect. Oh my god, I hate it. Yes, I know it's true. Yeah. Here it is. It's finally done. It was one of these feature creep videos. I started off with face detection, which was very slow on a Pi Zero. I got about 5 seconds per frame on 640. So I scaled the image down, did a histogram over it, and managed to get 500 milliseconds. But then I also wanted to reintroduce the button trigger. And since this is a Pi 0, I turned this into an access point. I put a website on it, but a web page on it with 2 buttons to enable the face detect feature and to blow the horn. So yeah, that is it now. It's a bit of a beast. Let's look at the code. So the code is made up out of this web page with a single web page. There is a pictures directory that snaps the pictures every time that the horn is hunked. We have the daemon. The daemon function turns the application into a service for Unix. So when this boots up, it becomes automatically a access point. It starts the HornyBox service. I put an image of the SD card online. The global, this is where the globals are defined. We have some constants for the duration of the horn. We have a short blow and a long blow, so it goes toot toot. And these are the times in milliseconds, and this is the time in seconds between the honks when you're in face detect mode. If you're in face detect mode, you don't want it to honk every time it sees a face, otherwise you get a detection, you move up, get another one, you go nuts. So this is the time in between. Then we got the Horny-O. The Horn I/O, it is based around Wiring Pi. Wiring Pi is a library for C++ for the Raspberry Pi to control the GPIO. I set the relay pin to an output and I set it low. That way as it boots up it doesn't start to honk. That's a good thing. And then I implemented a double tap, that is the tap with the duration of the times that we set as constants, and here they are function arguments. Let's keep the main for last. This is the vision. We can draw cascade matches around the face if its face is detected. I now took it out. I want my images to be clean. Sets up the camera. Because it does around 500 milliseconds per frame, I put the frames to 3 frames per second. That saves a lot of battery that way. Get the number of cascade matches, that is the number of faces detected. I did a clever thing because I actually wanted to have a torso match, a person match and a face match. So I pass in a vector of cascade classifiers. But since the Pi 0 is so slow, I only push one classifier, which is the face classifier, into it. So it basically runs once. But this way you can do several detections very quickly with a single call. Snap images. As soon as there is a face detected, I will start to capture images. Hopefully you get one of these pictures that goes like... And then the web service, I usually use pistache.io, but pistache.io didn't link properly on an ARM. They now fixed it. I registered a call, they fixed it. But in the meantime, I used a low-level library called libHTTP server to implement the 2 web service calls. It's the honk getter and the face detect getter. If you send a honk, it will perform the double tap from the Horny-O. And if you call face detect, it will return whether face detect is on or off. And if you put in the argument toggle is true, it will toggle the face detect on or off with this XOR. Easy peasy. And when you use the course system that is part of the browsers, it will also send an options request with the same URL. So you need to first capture that, send out the proper headers, and then you get the GET request. So then we have the main. We have one big face detect function. It sets up the face detection and it goes into an infinite loop. When a face is detected and it is time to actually sound the horn, and face detect is 1, then we sound the horn, start taking pictures, and these are threads, so they run independent from each other. We join them to wait until they're both done. And then we say, okay, the next time that a face detect horn blow can be triggered is after, well, we saw it, it's 20 seconds. So here we set the daemon, we set the current directory to the HornyBox because I do everything relative from that directory. Here we run that face detect in its own thread, and you need to run it in a thread because the web service would otherwise block it. The web service is also in a joint thread here. And we create the web server. I registered the two directories and I log that it's basically running. So that is the code. It's not really that complex. It's just a lot of work for something this simple. Let's go to the website. It's a simple single index.html. It looks like this. There's nothing to it. I don't like doing front end. So there you have it, the HornyBox. A nice little project, although I had a lot of feature creep. It's very cheap to make. You need a box of some kind, a klaxon which is about $10. You need a battery pack for the Pi and a LiPo battery 12 volts for the horn, or 11.1 volts in my case, close enough. A Pi Zero, that is around 15 bucks. An SD card, which is relatively expensive, it's a 16 gigs. And a relay board. I had those lying around. I saw them come online on Banggood for $1 a piece. So I figured, like, let's order them. There's always a use for them. And of course a Pi Zero camera, or a Pi camera with a Pi Zero cable. I will create an ISO image of this 16 gigabyte card. I put the link in the description so you can download it, shove it in your Pi. It will come up as an access point. The password will be in the README file or in the description, and you can have a lot of fun with a project like this. Scaring your colleagues as soon as Corona is over, back in the office. Oh, that's so much fun. They're going to hate you, but it's still so much fucking fun. So I hope you like my HornyBox. I'll see you in the next one. That is the HornyBox. Oh fuck, I did a face detect on the camera. Jesus, motherfucker, that's disabled. Oh fuck me, that was loud.